Guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World in the Black Business School. I know that it's a weird time of night for me to be going live, but I get up early sometimes. Sometimes I go to bed late. Either way, I hope you guys are having a good day, and I hope you guys will also hit the thumbs up button and the share and subscribe button as you come through. Let me go ahead and get started on this conversation. This is one that I think the community should understand, and maybe I could provide some perspective on it. There is apparently a network called the Word Network. Now, I've heard of this network, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not a big churchgoer. I'm probably a super heathen in that way, but it doesn't mean I don't respect the Black church. I think that the Black church is actually one of the strongest institutions in the Black community, one of the greatest economic engines that exist for Black people, right or wrong, good or bad. Some churches have good people in them and good pastors and good leadership, and some churches have pimps in the pulpit, literal pimps in the pulpit. Well, one of the things that I saw today that reminded me of the whole pimps in the pulpit kind of thing was this meme, this crazy meme that I saw that was put out that featured a guy named Kevin Adele. I did not know Kevin Adele's name until now, but Kevin Adele is apparently the owner of the Word Network, which is fascinating because most of the viewership, most of their financial base is Black. But then again, that makes them similar to pretty much almost every other business in America that Black people support, whether it's Popeye's Chicken, Hair Weaves, or anything else. We tend to have things that are owned by white people that attract Black people. Why? Well, because they are the producer base, you are the consumer base. They are the builders, you are the employees. They are the owners, you are the sharecroppers. And that's kind of what you've been trained to be for a very long time. Well, anyway, as I'm reading here, I'll read some of this article to you, and I'll kind of give you the things that stand out to me. It's no disrespect to Mr. Adele. I don't know this man, but I do know that that there's something to be said about this, and I'm glad that people are bringing it out, sort of discussing this. It says local TV and radio station owner Kevin Adele admitted Sunday to sending a racially charged meme to Bishop George Bloomer, a North Carolina pastor who recently parted ways with the network. But Adele, owner of WADL TV 38 910 AM Superstation and the Word Network, denied creating the meme and said he sent it to Bloomer to make him aware of it. Bloomer was one of the pastors depicted in the meme, which shows Adele draped in a white fur coat and a fur hat, an image reminiscent of the 1970s pimp caricatures, with four Black pastors from the Word Network and a Lamborghini behind him. So this image is a picture of the white man wearing a pimp coat, wearing a pimp hat, fur coat, fur hat, and he's got Black men behind him, which is really not only disrespectful from a racial standpoint, but it's also emasculating. It basically goes back to sort of telling Black men that you're just a bunch of hoes. You're supposed to serve me. You're not a real man because you sit up under a white man and you need a white man's permission for you to ever have any real power. That's a deep concern. I know personally I'd be very offended by that kind of image being shared by the person that I supposedly work for. It says, Adele says he was offended by the picture as well. He had nothing to do with it, but it was fascinating because he texted it to this pastor. And according to the article I'm reading on the Detroit News, it almost sounds like he sent him the text after the pastor had left the network, that this pastor Bloom had left the network, and he texted him this picture of himself with a pimp hat and a pimp coat. And I don't know what that was all about. I'd be curious to know what was said in the text. Was he saying this is really disturbing? We got to get this off the air. This isn't true. Or was he saying, haha, I'm the boss. I'm you the hoe, I'm the pimp. I don't know if you guys saw it. Did anybody else see this? Anybody else hear about any of this? Let me know in the chat if you heard about this. Also, feel free to shout out your city, the city that you're from. Good morning to Silver Stream and Major Bird and Wallace Delaney. Baltimore checking in. Okay, all right, perfect. Hello, Betty Love. How are you? So let me go ahead and keep going. So Bloomer said Adele told him that he didn't create the meme, but the bishop said Adele found it comical. He said Adele texted the image to his phone after he left the station. So after Bloomer left the station, and he says that this was Monday, and I think this was after Bloomer had gone to see him to say, I'm leaving the show. He thought it was hilarious. Bloomer said Monday, I told him to get rid of it. This is not right. This picture and what you're doing is akin to blackface. And so if he had to explain to him that this isn't right, that also speaks to a significant issue right there, right? That says that, you see the Black community as a profit center, but you don't connect with the Black community. You know how people always say, everybody want to be Black till it's time to be Black. So when it's time to appropriate Black culture, people are there. When it's time to appropriate Black money, people are there. When it's time to appropriate Black labor, people are there. When it's time to appropriate Black votes, people are there. But when it's really time to be Black, really stand up for Black issues and really go get in the fight with Black people, a lot of people ain't there. Like, I'd be curious to know if this Adele guy, what kind of cultural capital he's established with the Black community, meaning, where have you really taken significant political risk to stand up for a Black issue? When have you, for example, Father Michael Flager on the south side of Chicago, he's a white guy, but you can't tell me that he ain't down for Black folks. I've seen him put his life on the line for Black people. I've seen him bring together gangbangers and risk his life for Black people. I've seen him go out here and break the law and almost go to prison for Black people. I've seen him amongst the people, hugging and kissing the children in the neighborhood and everything else. And I don't see that. I don't know if this guy has this history. Maybe his track record is there. Maybe it's there. I'd be curious to know what it is. But I don't see anything there in the articles to indicate that. So let's see. Here's another statement by Bloomer. And again, I don't know Bloomer either. Sorry, this is from the National Association of Black Journalists in Detroit. They sent a letter to Adele, and they said this image is repulsive as it utilizes racial stereotypes and denigrates community leaders in the process, the letter said. It is doubly disturbing because your station's marketing materials promote the Word Network and the 910 AM station as home to Black voices. Being complicit in sharing racist materials is both offensive and a betrayal to the audience base you court and claim to support. The organization said it will support a boycott called by ministers against Adele stations and social media. He says, I didn't create the meme. I didn't have someone create the meme. He said, I'm as disappointed as everyone else. I'm more disappointed in the NABJ. They had a fiduciary responsibility to get all the facts before they weighed in. But Adele said, I'm happy to meet with the NABJ. They are my colleagues. Last week, a group identifying itself as the Concerned African American Clergy and Allies kicked off an online boycott of the Word Network. As of Monday afternoon, more than 3,700 people have signed the petition on change.org. So let me go check on the petition. Hit the thumbs up button, by the way, if you're watching. Please hit the thumbs up button and the notification bell. Now, I'm looking here. The petition's gotten up to about 3,818 people. So it hasn't gained significant momentum. And I don't know where it's going to go. I'm not going to say that it won't gain momentum, but here's some of the issues that you want to be concerned about. First of all, Black people are an economic power base for a lot of people that have businesses that are owned by people who are not Black. BET is not owned by Black people. TheRoot.com is not owned by Black people. A lot of businesses, even Popeye's Chicken, had that fake Black lady they put on the commercial because because it's almost like an insult to your intelligence, because they know that most of you aren't going to really do the due diligence. You're not going to care who owns what, because you're not concerned about ownership. Ownership is a game that is played by the elite. Ownership is a game that's played by certain people who have a certain degree of economic consciousness that our community does not have. I say this as a finance professor, and so I would say that my economic consciousness is pretty good. And basically, I can tell you that, that we tend to focus on the paycheck while other people focus on the power, right? And ultimately, that makes us a huge source of economic fuel for other people who can see the ownership thing. Now, one point that Adele made in this article that I want you to be aware of, that I think is very fascinating, is and insightful actually, is he said that I think he said time will heal, time will pass. Now, why does he mention time? Why does he say the word time over and over and over again? Well, he says the word time because they know that young Negroes' attention span is about 35 seconds. Seriously. He knows that Black people don't pay attention to things for very long. He knows that Black people get outraged for a second, that when it comes to outrage and things that we're mad about, we have a type of ADHD where our ability to maintain and sustain prolonged resistance is pretty much minimal, pretty much non-existent. Has anybody else noticed this? Tell me if you've noticed this, that literally the thing that we're outraged about on Tuesday may not be the thing that we're outraged about on Saturday. Does anybody else notice this? We have tremendous cultural ADHD when it comes to what we're mad about. So I'd be willing to bet you 9 times out of 10, this boycott will be over in about a week. It might take him a month to get his audience back. Everything's going to be okay. It's going to be fine because, we always come back. It is what it is. Because here's the other thing. Here's the other part that I think he's probably leaning on, and he's probably right about this. Black people, especially those who are deep in the wrong side of the Black church. I'm not talking about everybody who's in the Black church. I'm not talking about the entirety of the Black church, because I respect the Black church as a collective and the potential of the Black church. But some of the Negroes in the wrong side of the Black church will forgive you for anything. Will forgive you for anything. Anybody remember Botham? Just last week you saw Botham Jean's brother, Botham Jean's brother, go up and literally forgive and hug the convicted murderer who just shot his brother in his own house while he was eating a bowl of ice cream. You see, and then you saw the judge give him a hug and give him a Bible, or give her a Bible. Sorry, give this convicted murderer a Bible and a hug after sending her to prison. I've never seen a convicted murderer treated so wonderfully in my life. I have read you don't even see award recipients treated so kindly, and she and this was all rooted in this idea, this false idea, or this misleading concept that you should forgive anybody for anything instantly. If you remember when the white kids shot up that church down in South Carolina, it was embarrassing to see how many Negroes went to the courtroom the next morning before he was even arraigned to scream, we forgive you," out loud, to do it in front of the camera so everybody could see it, so they can earn their good nigger stickers. That's what they call them, right? Their meritorious manumission. That's a more specific term that's used in Dr. Claude Anderson's books, Black Labor, White Wealth, and Powernomics, where he talks about during slavery how slaves gained favor with white folks by forgiving and supporting and loving them no matter what. And this whole idea that that you can love your enemies. I think there's a way to love your enemies without making yourself look like a damn fool. There's a way to love your adversaries without forgiving them publicly before you even find out what they did wrong and what the punishment should be, right? There's a way to forgive in your heart without forgiving out loud and feeling like you got to go scream from the rooftops with a megaphone and a microphone on national TV so everybody can hear you. What made Botham Jean? Yeah, I know the church and Christian and forgiveness and all that. That's fine. That's cool. My daddy's a pastor. I respect that. But what made him feel that national television, when all the cameras are on, was the right time to forgive? Why not forgive her in private in a prison visit, a jailhouse visit 2 years from now, where nobody can exploit your forgiveness for socio-political gain? Because you're going to be used, you're going to be exploited. She's going to bring this up when she goes up for parole in 3 to 5 years. And so she will not get any punishment. So you're sending the message that says it's okay to murder Black people. Killing a Black man is okay because we will forgive you no matter what you do. So I believe that when it comes to this guy, Dell, whatever happened here, he's probably been forgiven by 80-90% of the parishioners already. The boycott won't be sustained. It won't last. And it's fine. I mean, people can do what they want to do. I do think, lastly, that this is one of those things where I don't really know about this guy, Dale. He may be a good dude. He may not. This may not be who he is. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. Maybe it was sour grapes. Bloomer was leaving the network. Sometimes people do that. People get mad at you and they quit the company, and then they come back and they blast the company or whatever, and then they do all these other things. But at the same time, there is sort of the fundamental question of saying, at what point do Black people choose as a community to take ownership of the things that are in our community? At what point do we go to the Korean hair shop and say, you guys are nice, we appreciate the beauty supplies you provided, but we'll take it from here. Or go to the Vietnamese nail shop and say, we like you all, you've been very good, we appreciate you, but we'll take it from here, right? Or go to those the restaurants, Mexican restaurants and everything else in your neighborhood. Thank you, we appreciate the good food you've had, but we'll take it from here. In fact, we won't even put you out of business by pushing you out. We'll just set up a Black-owned business right next to you and let people come to the Black-owned business, so Black people will have a choice on whether they want to circulate their dollars in their community or give their dollars away. Because one of the biggest challenges that an Adele would have had, regardless of this incident, is that Black economic consciousness is waking up. I've been deeply in tune with this because I've been a finance professor for a long time, and I remember when I would talk about economic issues like ownership and wealth building and all that, and people just said, "Don't talk about it, Doc. Ain't nobody gonna want to hear it. Don't nobody care about that stuff." Black people, all they want to do is give their money away. Black people don't want to be educated. And it was true. It was kind of felt that way for a while, and then things kind of changed around. Actually, Trayvon Martin, that kind of stimulated a lot of consciousness in the community, which spilled over into consciousness in other areas. And I love it. I mean, I think it's great. So I think that a guy like Kevin Adele, he might be a good person, but at some point he was going to have competition anyway. This is a great opportunity, a great excuse, a great reason to go ahead and say, okay, what Black-owned network is there out there that has the distribution capabilities that allow for Black pastors to get their word out without going through the word network? If there's another network, I heard about another network that somebody said it was really expensive, that they charge insane amounts of money to get on. Well, maybe that means it's time to create another network, right? Just network, just keep going until you have enough competition in that space so that those opportunities are spread out. But I would say at the end of the day, also, you must remember the importance of understanding that you're Black first, that circulating those dollars in the community is what matters. And if you are part of the Black church and you care about the reputation of the Black church and you care about how people perceive the Black church, then you can't have one of these churches where the church is the nicest building in the damn neighborhood. All the other buildings around it are torn down, burned down, in shambles, torn to pieces, and your church is looking like a damn beautiful castle made in heaven. Don't nobody want to see that shit. Nobody wants to see you living like a king in the middle of paupers. Nobody wants to see you in heaven when everybody else around you is in hell. That really, to good people, that reeks of something that is almost demonic, in the sense that you are literally sucking economic lifeblood out of the community and giving nothing back. So I believe that churches and pastors that want their churches to be respected, they'll do what friends like individuals like my friend Buster Suarez are doing, which is he's engaging the community. He's pushing economic agendas and initiatives in his community. He's doing all kinds of things to rebuild the community so that the church can build and the community around it can build as well. Okay, so Lorenzo, I see you in Brooklyn. I will be in New York City actually October 27th. So if you guys want to, sorry, did I say October 20? Yeah, I did. That's right. I forget what month it is. I'll be in New York October 27th, and I'll be doing a day-long investing seminar. We're going to talk about everything from how to invest in the stock market to how the markets work, to how to build a long-term wealth plan for your family. We're actually going to have attorney Mary Dean there, the Wall Street lawyer, and I'm going to actually invite her to come up and speak in terms of talking about developing wealth vehicles for your family that can protect your wealth as well. So there's a lot there. We're going to talk about investing with each other, building economies within your own family, developing your economic family, and all these other things. So if you'd like to come out to New York, go to drboycenewyork.com. That's Dr. Boyce New York. Spell the whole word New York out.com. And Malcolm, I see you in Belgium. That's very cool. Yeah, a lot of times when I go live in the middle of the night, I'll get a lot of people from parts of Europe and Asia and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm going to actually go lay back down for a little bit. I got to go, and I'm closing on some real estate today. So ran my first marathon 2 days ago, about to close on some real estate. Hey, and then I'm going to go out to Arizona for a couple of days. What's going on is that Nationhood Nico in Dallas? Ooh, good for you. Oof. When am I coming to Seattle right now? Probably never. You got to fly to another city to see me. I don't even know if I can get enough Black people in Seattle to come out. I'm an acquired taste. I'll say that. You either get it or you don't. And those who don't get it, I can't help them. I just talk to those who can. So long story. Let's see other things. You guys know I'm getting married July 11th in Chicago. So you're all invited. I'll put up an Eventbrite and you get a free ticket and come to the wedding. The church is very big, a whole lot of people. And we'll probably live stream it also. And that's pretty much it. So I just want to tell you guys what's going on, what we have happening in the Black Business School. Also, we're actually next year going to do something at the Essence Music Fest. So we're going to have an event there. And then also the All Black National Convention will be in Detroit. But these are in July and September. So you have some time, but I want you to mark it on your calendar. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you, Reality of Fitness, for your donation. Peace, love, and respect, sir. Well, love and respect right back at you, brother. And I appreciate so much your financial support. We won't let you down. We will come through for you. And this money goes right back into the community and helps us get things done that will be positive and productive for Black people. So take care, guys. Have a good night, and I'll see you soon. Be good. Peace.